Everyone, welcome to this episode of Metamorphosis with Toby podcast. Always a pleasure to have you around. Thank you if you're just tuning in. Thank you if this is your first time on this channel. Kindly click the subscribe button, like, share, ask questions, comment, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. And so today, first, if you remember, some weeks back, I did put out something, a very short video where I did ask a few questions about if you feel like a fraud when you're being awarded accolades, how you felt. Sometimes if you feel like you're lucky, you're not worth the things people say or appreciate you for doing. And if you remember, I did call it imposter syndrome. And but then I promised that we'll have somebody talk to us about what imposter syndrome really is. And so today we'll be bringing that to fruition. I have with me, she's not a first time guest on this podcast, but this is our first time on our YouTube channel since we transitioned to a video podcast. Welcome with me, Josephine Obede. Thank you so much, Josephine, for obliging.
Thank you, Toby, for having me.
All right. So just so we go straight to the point, today we want to talk about imposter syndrome. And in my search for knowledge, like I always do, I did find that it was recognized around 1978 by some psychologists. I think Pauline Rose Clance and her colleagues, they recognized this behavioral pattern as imposter syndrome. And interestingly, they did say that it comes up as a form of, it comes up basically among women, and that it's because of family dynamics and the societal sex stereotypes. And further along, I think other research did come up again and say that it is mainly seen, and it's not just, it moved beyond behavioral pattern to both behavioral and cognitive pattern. And then they did say that it is mainly amongst people with minority status, maybe gender minority, racial minority, immigrants, people with disabilities. And so today, because you are a clinical psychologist, we would like you to explain to us what imposter syndrome really is, because we do not know. All right, Josephine.
Okay, thank you, Toby, once again. So basically, I just want to make this as simple as possible. Okay. Yes, I'm not going to use any long or very difficult terms. So have you ever felt out of place? So for example, you did something and okay, you did it pretty well, and then you got celebrated, but you were feeling like, I don't really deserve this accolade. I don't really deserve this praise. Oh,
that's like always.
Because I think because I was just at the right place at the right time, or I probably got some help, or it's because I was supported. So feeling out of place, you doubting yourself, and then you feeling like you're fake. Yeah, that's just the general understanding of imposter syndrome. So it's basically a psychological condition. It's basically a feeling, a behavior that you feel you're doubting yourself, you're doubting your skills, your abilities, and then you feel that you are not real. You feel that whatever you've been praised for or your achievements it's not you that did all those things. So yeah, if you're not enough, it has a lot of things.
Yeah. So with the questions you started with, yes, I think that I personally, yes, I experienced that when people say, "Oh, good job, you did something," or maybe your research, and I'm like, in my corners, I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. I don't think it is worth celebrating. But yes, thank you so much for explaining that to us. So we know, is it normal for people to experience all of this? Is it a normal thing? we know you said I know you said it's a, we know it's a psychological, behavioral, cognitive.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
is it the norm, or is it that something is wrong?
Okay, so it is a norm when it is an occurrence, like, oh, I feel this particular way, I feel this particular way about myself.
Okay.
But it becomes a problem when the person begins to dwell on that, thought, dwell on those thoughts, acts on it, and then becomes maybe develops maybe low self-esteem out of it, doesn't believe in his or herself. So it could happen to each and every one of us. It does happen to us. As I said, it's just an occurrence. It could be a thought, but staying in that thought over a long period of time could not pose as a problem.
All right.
Yeah.
So what in what forms can imposter syndrome manifest? Like what are the patterns? What are the various forms of manifestation?
Like I said, you feeling inadequate, so you feeling that you're not worthy of whatever you're being celebrated for, or you're not worthy of certain achievements, or you're not worthy of your skills or abilities. Like, oh, I don't feel I did anything, or I don't feel I'm good enough, or I don't feel I deserved it. So that's one pattern, feeling inadequate. Also, there's also the pattern of, being a perfectionist. So I didn't get 100%. So why are you celebrating me? I don't think I did good enough. So being that perfectionist could also be a pattern. So it's actually, that's why we try to tell people it's okay to get a 70%. It's okay to even get a 50, right? So sometimes it's this all or not thinking of, oh, if it's not 100, I didn't do good enough. So that could also be a pattern of imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. So then there's also the pattern of when we're trying to avoid responsibility. So for example, you feel that, so you're given a particular task to do, maybe at work or in school, and then you feel, I don't think I'm going to do well. So it's still from the feeling of inadequacy, and then you say, okay, you know what? Let me give it to somebody else, or let me procrastinate. I'll do it when I feel I'm in the right frame of mind and I can give my best, and I can. That could also be a pattern of imposter syndrome. So you are avoiding responsibility, yeah. And then sometimes when we avoid, what's it now? Feedback, or avoiding judgment, or avoiding criticisms could also be a pattern of imposter syndrome, meaning that, oh, I don't want to hear what I did wrong. I don't want to hear what I did right, because I would feel, it should have been 100%. So I'd rather not even want to be judged or anything. So yeah, so feeling inadequate, feeling not being confident in yourself, avoiding responsibility, procrastinating because you feel you're not in the right frame of mind to do certain things. I think, did I mention avoiding judgment? So these are certain, and being a perfectionist. These are patterns of imposter syndrome.
Syndrome. All right. So on different occasions, like I said earlier, I have experienced imposter syndrome. So I just want to bring it home a little. Has there been any time that you can remember, or any situation?
100%. 100%. Starting off as a therapist, starting off with older people in the organization, definitely you'd feel,
maybe
why
not.
was I even employed? Why was I employed? Am I sure I can do all these things I was told to do? After a therapy session, did I really do well? Oh, I just hope this patient would come back. Like, you just start overthinking, and then you start doubting yourself, and of course, it happens. It does happen. It does happen to me. Yeah. And I have different ways of coping with that. But yes, I have experienced that. I still do experience it. For example, you want to, if I want to, let's say, if I'm going for a speaking engagement, for example, that one always happens.
Always.
If I'm going for a speaking engagement, and I'm like, what if I say something wrong? And I remember the last one I was invited to last month. If you see the people on the panel, my seniors,
I think I did see.
Yeah, I was like, maybe I should just cancel. Like, I had prepared. Like, maybe I should just cancel. I don't want to go and say anything.
Out of
crazy. But funny enough, my husband was like, Castle what? We are going together. So yeah, it does
Yes,
happen. And then,
that's a good support system. I think
yeah,
one way.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
know we'll still get to dealing with imposter syndrome, but I think,
Yeah. So
yes,
definitely I
thank
have
you for
experienced
mentioning
it.
that. I think one way
Yeah.
will be having support systems. And thank
Yeah.
you to your husband. All right, so going back, are there different types of imposter syndrome? Because we don't know. You are the expert.
Um, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have different types. I think one, we have the perfectionist. So just like I said, those people
Mm,
that feel that it has to be 100%, it has to be square, it has to be black or white. So
mm,
we have people like that, which is, could be a type of imposter syndrome. We
okay.
also have the soloists. So people that like to work on their own.
On your own.
Okay. They don't like to work with other people, and then it could be a problem. So yeah, you'd be wondering, okay, so why is it soloist and
Oh.
imposter syndrome? Because if you're working on your own, you won't be able to learn from other people. You won't be able to get ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and then get something better. So it could also be um, a type of imposter syndrome. Also, we have, let me see, the natural geniuses. So these are people that are good, okay? They are good at what they do.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so when something happens, or let's say when they fail or they make a mistake at an attempt,
Okay.
they just, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not good at this. I shouldn't have done it in the first place. And all those conversations continue.
Mm.
Um, yeah. And then we also have, so I think this one is also common among when you mentioned women too. So when you
Okay.
mentioned women always want to do certain things, also the superheroes. So they
Yes, like
wanting to
Superwoman and all of
say,
that.
you want to
Mm-hmm.
do everything. I want to prove that I'm good. I want to prove that I can do whatever, Yeah, so sometimes they push themselves too hard because they want to feel capable, because we
Capable.
want to feel, oh, I can do it. And sometimes it doesn't really go well. And then if there's a mistake, or even if there's a praise, we feel, no, I haven't done enough. I need to save a lot of people. I need to do so many things. And then, imposter syndrome could, set in.
Mm.
Yeah. So we have perfectionists, the superheroes, we have the experts. I don't know
Yeah, the
if I've mentioned the
geniuses,
experts. Yeah.
natural
So these
genius.
experts, they are never satisfied. No, it must be 100. It must be
Mm.
speak and span, those kind of things. So we have the soloists, people wanting to work alone. They don't
Alone
want, to even interfere with other people. So these are different types of,
types of
imposter
imposter
syndrome.
syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for touching on the people who tend to want to be superheroes. And
Yeah.
yeah, when you said that, I did think about um people who are super women, like relating to women. So
Yeah.
I guess that would be something for another day, because I personally have my reservations with that term superwoman, wanting you to be more, to do more. But all right,
Okay.
thank you for touching on superheroes.
Yeah.
Moving on very quickly, I would like to ask so I know I did ask if it was a norm or if it was a normal thing to happen. But are there other certain reasons why imposter syndrome occurs? Like I know it kind of hinges back to piggybacks to maybe the types, like your individual personality, your
Yeah.
personality and all. But are there other reasons why imposter syndrome occurs?
Well, I think you already mentioned some at the beginning. Yeah, initially, research were like, it's more within women and everything, but
Mhm.
recent researchers have revealed that it's also common among men too. So both genders, do experience
Imposter
imposter syndrome. So it's also been seen among minority groups, which you mentioned. So definitely feeling out of place,
syndrome.
feeling, let's say, Africans or Black people in the midst of white, them feeling out of place. So even when they do something right, they don't feel, or they feel that they are fake, or they don't, feel that they've done something good.
Okay.
And also situations where high achievers, like intelligent people, do experience imposter syndrome. Trust me. So even people like Albert Einstein, he even confessed to actually experiencing it. So
Yeah,
obviously you've
I
done
think
some things.
Maya Angelou did.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michelle Obama said
Yeah,
something around that too.
exactly. Yeah. So high achievers, intelligent people, people up there. So they just feeling
Mm,
out of place. They just feeling, should I really be here? Oh, I think other people are doing better than me. So
mm,
even this one that I'm even being celebrated for is nothing. People will actually realize that I'm not good at what I am. So different situations, people like you said, people that are people living with disabilities, people with living with
yeah.
special needs. Yeah. So different situations. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Could even occur,
yeah.
sorry,
Go
it
ahead.
could even
No, it's
occur
fine.
between siblings. It could even occur between siblings if you're the only
Oh,
son, for example, if you're the only daughter or among us a lot of children, or if you are the step child bringing it home now, it could happen. You just feeling, oh, my parents didn't really want me. Yeah, a lot of, even at work, it will happen at work. You being the youngest among older people,
older
you being the
people.
only female, let's say in tech now, for example. I'm sure if you interview some people that are in tech, tech, you think, oh, it's more of males. If you interview some
Males,
females,
yeah.
they may have some, experiences of imposter syndrome. So
Imposter
different
syndrome.
sectors, different situations, we do experience this syndrome from time to time.
Okay. All right. All right. So I know we did say something about ways to deal with imposter syndrome, and we did mention
Yeah,
having support system. Could you please
yeah,
expatiate, like what are the ways we can deal with imposter syndrome?
yeah. I think the first thing is to acknowledge your feelings,
Okay.
being vulnerable. So for the example I gave that last month when I was invited for, I was like, I had to tell my husband, I think I'm scared. I don't think I will say the right thing. What if I say something wrong and it's going to be a live event? So I had to tell myself that, okay, I am scared. I think I'm developing, or I think I'm experiencing imposter syndrome. So I had to tell myself that it's happening. And then following that, speaking to someone that you trust, that wouldn't, worsen the situation. Very
Mm,
important. Speaking to the right person. And in my case, I spoke to my husband. So he was able to, of course, you're good at this. They called you all the way. You're good. They reached out to you
mhm.
if you weren't good. So someone to just encourage you at that moment, yeah, is also, something very good. And I would also want to say understanding yourself, understanding your strengths and your weaknesses. If you've done a particular thing, back to my example, right?
Okay.
I was called to be a panel of mental health something. So understanding that, okay, mental health is my strength, public speaking is my strength. So for it to be my strength, I think that's the reason why I was called.
Yeah,
Do you
true.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, reminding yourself of that would also be very helpful.
Mm.
And then perhaps your weakness of maybe being shy at the beginning, maybe not being camera, was it comfortable, could be a weakness. So just identifying all those things and
On
excuse me,
them.
working towards them. Another important thing I would say is avoiding procrastination. Oh, this one is the moment you see yourself, you know what, I will do it another day. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. That
Tomorrow.
is when you
Okay.
should even do it. That is
Mm,
when you should even do that particular thing, because you keep on moving it forward because you feel you're not perfect enough or it's not the
enough.
right time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So avoiding procrastination, which still leads to overcoming
Imposter.
perfectionism.
Mm,
Yeah, overcoming perfection. I have told myself I cannot be perfect. I'm not a perfect therapist. I'm not a perfect lady. And I've come to be comfortable with that.
okay.
Yeah. So
Mm,
we have to be comfortable with the fact that we wouldn't always get everything right. I wouldn't always excel. I wouldn't always succeed. Of course, we want our success to be more than our failures, but just realizing that everything cannot be perfect. I would make mistakes, but I will learn from it. So overcoming, working on your perfectionism. And then
Okay.
another way could be owning your success or owning your achievements, not pushing it or giving an excuse or oh, that's more thing.
Yeah,
I was
it's
a
just
little thing. Don't not belittling yourself
yeah,
or belittling your achievement. It's because I did one work like that. It's just one article I researched on. No, I
yeah.
don't
It's
even know
just
why they even picked it.
it's yeah, true. It's just that class assignment. It's just
Exactly.
something very small. It's not a big thing.
That it is not a big deal. Tell yourself it's a big deal. Celebrate your success, no matter how little it is. Celebrate your success. So these are, I think, a few ways that work. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Josephine, for joining us. Thank you for enlightening us. Thank you for pointing out this, even some of the things that we might know, but might not come to us in times when we're experiencing imposter syndrome. And
Yeah.
thank you for reminding us. Also, so if you're just joining us, today we did talk on imposter syndrome. What is imposter syndrome? The manifestations, the types, how to deal with imposter syndrome, significantly how to deal with imposter syndrome. And I would like to do a brief summary of what we talked about dealing with imposter syndrome. First, our guest did mention that we can't be vulnerable and acknowledge your feelings. Speak to someone, and by someone, speak to the right
Yep.
person that would serve as a support system, or the right person that would listen and encourage you. Understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses. This is my strength. I am not confident in front of the camera. Understand it, work on it. And also, she did talk about avoiding procrastination. When you begin to feel like you need to do something and you start pushing it, it means that you need to do it right now. Stop procrastination. That's one way to deal with imposter syndrome. And she also talked about coming to terms with who you are, with everything around you. Just come to terms that say, this is who I am. I am not a perfectionist. If I am not perfect at this thing, I could make mistakes, but own
Mhm.
your being, yourself, your personality, and own your achievements. Yes, I think it's high time we stopped doing I do it a lot when people say, or when you're being given any form of accolade or appreciation, like, oh, it's just that's nothing, it's nothing. So one way to deal with imposter syndrome is to own achievements, no matter how little these achievements are. Thank you so much once again. I cannot thank you enough for always coming back to teach us and enlighten us. And so, any other thoughts before we round this off? Any take homes again? Anything you want to add?
I think I would also like to add journaling.
Okay.
Sometimes when we write down our thoughts and then we look at it in ink, realize, did I really think about this? Like, was I really thinking about this? So writing down our thoughts could actually really help, and then reading it all over again too. Yeah. So as I said, imposter syndrome, it does happen to us once in a while. Please don't stay there. Just remember yourself and all the good things that you've done. Focus. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on what you don't know or what you know?
You know.
So when you focus on what you know, of course, you'll be able to boost your self-esteem, and boost your self-confidence. So thank you. And well done to be. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Josephine. And so, you know how we do on this podcast, we do not go without a quote. And so today we have a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, and it says, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Again,
That's
no
right.
one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Thank you so much, Josephine, and thank you for our viewers and listeners. If you are watching on YouTube, if you are watching on Spotify or listening on Spotify, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever platform you are listening and watching from. Thank you so much. And do not forget to subscribe, like, ask questions, share amongst your friends. And so we have come to the end of this episode. Enjoy, guys.